Hello and welcome to this episode of The Upgrade. I'm your host, Peter Bittner, co-founder of The Upgrade. I'm super excited to welcome today to the show Dr. Devora Graeser, a Harvard-trained biochemist, as well as patent strategist, AI geek, and founder of RocketSmart.io, and also co-instructor of our new course, which I'm really excited to chat about here. Devora, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I always love talking about AI. A good day is a day when we do AI, right?
Totally, totally. Tell me a little bit about your background and career journey and how you got into, sort of powered integration for tech transfer.
Absolutely. Well, I actually started programming when I was 16, back before the GUI, the graphical user interface, even before the internet. And I was really excited by the ability of technology to transform lives and make the world a better place. I did a stint, as you mentioned, with training at Harvard as a biochemist, got my PhD in pharmacology, computational biology of the Human Genome Project. But I really wanted to help folks bring innovations to life through commercialization. In other words, make that last step. Take that idea from something that's kind of abstract and on the shelf and make it something that can actually be bought as a product. And I ended up doing that through tech transfer because, of course, the universities, the research organizations, the hospitals, that is where many of our most cutting edge breakthroughs are happening. And if we could take those breakthroughs and commercialize them, then we could make the world a better place.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about where AI fits into this and into your practice. Maybe you can give us just a little background on Rocket Smart as well and what you guys do.
Sure. So where AI fits into all of this is pretty much everywhere. So I've spent my entire career helping innovators bring smart ideas into the real world as real products. And AI is the most powerful tool that we have right now to fast track that innovation. In other words, that pipeline from pipe dream to reality. So we use AI in everything. We use it to help us analyze what our customers want. We use it to help them find the best commercial matches. The university will come to us, they'll have a great idea, no idea who could be interested in it though. We help them find the right industry, the right market within that industry, and then the right company, and even the right contact in that company. And we help them craft an individualized, personalized message for that contact. The days of the cold email blast are, I'm very happy to say, over. And we have AI to thank for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me a little bit about, why tech transfer feels so stuck in the past, in your experience out in the field here, you've worked with a ton of different types of organizations, all, in this space, but, how is the state of the field changing as well these days, in part because of AI?
The reason why the field is changing has more to do with people. Now, tech transfer's always been about people, right? The professors, the researchers, they make the invention disclosures, and the tech transfer office has to collect them. That's one place a bottleneck occurs. But then they have to evaluate it to see if it's worthwhile patenting. There comes another bottleneck. Finally, they have to be able to create good relationships with companies so they can understand how, what kind of innovations to bring to the companies, and the companies can understand how best to work with them. All of these things require people. What happened after the pandemic? A lot of people left. Now, this has been true in tech transfer for a while, but now it's much worse. People tend to leave jobs, sometimes to retire, sometimes to go outside tech transfer, sometimes to stay within tech trans, but they want to find a different position. This means that institutional knowledge is rapidly being lost, and it can be really hard to kind of keep on top of all these different relationships. AI can come to the rescue and can help with all of these issues. It can help you collect those invention disclosures, evaluate them for patentability, decide what markets industries to go for, find those companies. It can help you do everything. And it can also help you keep track of what it is you're supposed to be doing as a tech transfer professional so that you can focus on the one thing AI cannot do well, and that is making those human relationships.
Yeah, that's so true. And we can't lose sight of that, right? It's really all about communicating with real humans, the value of these innovations and finding ways to really bring them into the world. Ultimately, what are some of the pain points you're hearing from universities and IP managers these days? As you mentioned, the changing state of the field with some of these different factors. What are sort of the real sticking points?
Well, one very big sticking point, apart from the fact that there are people leaving all the time, which is still an issue, beyond that, of course, there have been quite a few changes to budgets. Now, within the US, we know there's been a big push for governmental efficiency, and a lot of money has either not going to universities, may not go to universities. There's a lot of confusion about what's going on. So tech transfer offices are concerned about budgets. Of course, they can't always find enough of the right kind of people to help them, with the right skills. So that's like another big issue. And they're still stuck a little bit sometimes in what I call the early internet philosophy, where the internet is kind of used like a big database. Now, AI is not a database. AI is a helper tool, but you need to know how to use it. And a lot of times tech transfer folks find themselves kind of stuck in these older commercialization frameworks, which worked great when you were just accessing databases, but which are really not helpful when you're using AI.
Right. And could you give me maybe like an example in terms of, a playbook that worked 10 years ago that doesn't really in the same way now, right? With the shifting nature of the online economy, for example, or knowledge work.
Now, and especially contact companies, they're the people you have to talk to, they tend to be very specialized. They are looking for very specific things. So for example, if it's a pharmaceutical company, then they want to know about drugs typically for particular disease areas that do particular things, maybe that were tested on particular animal models. If they're interested in software, then the software has to often be of a certain type or has to be able to fit into their systems in a certain way. So first of all, simply finding a company isn't enough. You need to understand what it is they want, and the tech transfer folks need to be able to create a relationship so that they can bring them the right innovations. Now, this was also easier a number of years ago when many companies had larger research budgets, but inflation, oh boy, and tariffs and who knows what else. All these things are really having an effect on company budgets, so they're trying to do more with less. But another issue that's come up with tech transfer is they say, okay, we're not just going to use a database, we want to use AI, but how can we use AI with innovations that haven't yet been filed for a patent application or haven't yet been published? In other words, how can we do this safely? When we're using a database, we know exactly what's going on. When we're using AI, they don't. And that's absolutely correct. So what we actually need is a complete overhaul on how we do tech transfer, focusing on relationships, but also understanding how to maintain data and IP safety in the age of AI. It's completely different from what we were doing before.
That was great. Sorry, just for the auto, snipping, I'm gonna like pause, get a drink. If you want to do the same, feel free. I'll like usually allow a few seconds after a question. This is great though. So tell me a little bit, and hang on, let me start with another one. So this all brings us to the course here, Rapid AI Upgrade for Tech Transfer. And it's probably worth sharing that we've run one together before. For those of you watching this for the first time who also may not be familiar with my background, my name's Peter Bittner. I've been a lecturer at UC Berkeley's Graduate School of Journalism in the New Media Department for the last 8 years. I've also been teaching and consulting in AI, specifically for communications and marketing and strategy for the last several years. Devor and I have actually already run an iteration of this very same course previously last year, which went really well. We learned a ton through it, and we've already got a pilot under our belts. But Devor, maybe you can just like walk us through a little bit of the backstory of why this course and why now.
Was asking how to use AI. So I was at the Autumn, which is a tech transfer conference in early March, and everyone was asking me, how can we use AI? What's practical? People are tired of experimenting, and no one's telling tech transfer offices or professionals where to start. There even aren't always hints on what to do or how to do things in a practical way. That's where this course comes in. This course is meant to give tech transfer professionals an actionable system for integrating AI into their own process, their own work process, and also the work process of their office. So instead of having everyone in the office going off in their own direction, everyone can work together, leveraging AI to really get those fantastic results, but doing it in a way that means that everyone's work is multiplied. Everyone gets that 8x to 10x factor. Even if you just have one person from an office attending this course, the entire office will benefit because this course teaches systems and processes and the practical use and safe use of AI for tech transfer.
Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely saw that in our last cohort, right? We had a lot of people coming through and sharing the knowledge with their team and becoming essentially, the team lead, or some cases, yeah, really becoming a leader within their organization because they took the time to really dig into this with our program and with our support. I'm really interested in just like maybe unpacking the 4 sessions briefly and what is the course itself, right? Who is it for as well? You don't need to be a coder or have any technical knowledge here. We're going to get you up to speed. And all of our use cases are really going to be focused on tech transfer. And that's the beauty of this course, right? There's so many others that are very generic for sort of prompt engineering, which is like a skill set that is becoming more and more integral in some ways into all these different fields themselves. And so everything, all the examples that we have for our class are going to be extremely relevant to you, right? And tailored with Devorah's many years of expertise consulting and teaching already. And so we got great feedback last time about all of the examples and use cases that we've had this really tailored and designed for. But Dor, do you want to just take us through the 4 sessions like, briefly here in terms of what is the content of the course?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, the content of the course, you're right, is meant for tech transfer professionals. Every tech transfer professional I've ever met has some really great experience, some great secret sauce that they bring to the role. So this course is designed to help you, the tech transfer professional with the secret sauce, leverage that with AI to X your impact. So we start with looking at AI tools for IP strategy, including IP and data safety. When can you use a tool and when not? And which tools can you use? So there's a lot of nuances around AI tools. It's not really that it's AI always good, AI always bad. You need to know when and how to use AI. Then we go on to market analysis. You can spend a lot of time thrashing around on the internet trying to find the right industry or market, especially if your professor or researcher isn't sure. And then you try to find a company and maybe the company isn't interested because they used to do that, but they don't do it now. You can avoid all of that with AI for market analysis. So that's the second module we go through. And that includes doing everything, finding the industry, the market, but also the company, the right contact, and even overcoming their objections in advance so that warm email is hot, 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 and they are excited to join. In the third one, we're going to look at licensing workflows. Now, every person who does tech transfer has some kind of workflow. They have an individual one, and they typically have one within their office where they have to work with more than one person. We teach you how to leverage those workflows with AI so that AI is helping you and not getting in your way. AI will save you time, not cost you time, through this process. Then we end up with deal structuring and negotiation. How can you easily structure a deal, understanding what the other side wants based on the AI research? So you come to them already knowing what they want and already knowing what you need to do to build a great relationship with them. Remember, deal structuring and negotiation, it's about relationships. And ultimately, that's all tech transfer is relationships. But AI can help you focus on that human side. And that's what these 4 modules are intended to do.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm really excited and just thinking about some of even the specifics here too. So maybe if we go back to session 1, even like what would a sample, activity be from class? Like when we're talking about some of the foundations and tools and workflows, like, can you just maybe give us a little bit of a preview conceptually of, what are we talking about here?
So we are going to start with foundations and tools. For example, which AI tool can you use? When can you use it? They all have their own personality, even though they say they do the same things. They behave in different ways. And most importantly, they use your data in different ways. We would then start by uploading an invention disclosure. Now, this could be a published paper or patent application or patent. Or it could even be a related paper to what was disclosed if the invention disclosure itself hasn't been published in any way. In the next session, we look at market research and positioning. It is really important to position your innovation like a product to be sold. I know a lot of people don't like that, like, oh, I don't want to be a salesperson, but really sales is about relationships, and so is tech transfer. And if you want to have the right relationship, you need to talk to the right people. In order to talk to the right people, You need to find the right companies. In order to do that, you need market positioning. AI also really requires a good knowledge and use of buyer personas, which we will also cover. We can also find trends, competitors, potential licensees, the works. In the next one, we will look at AI for specific partner matching, crafting those highly specialized messages, knowing how to overcome potential objections, and we'll be doing both live role play and workshops. Now, what do I mean by role play? We'll have a message flash up, and someone can then think of how they would send a response. Because sending out a message is great, but what happens when the person you're contacting come back and says something? What do you do then? We will show you how to use AI in that case as well. After that, in the next segment, what we're going to be going on for is we're going to be looking at ethics, privacy, how can we make sure everything's protected, and really, what are the balance of risks? When you want to get into negotiations, it's one thing, but when you have a really hot new idea that hasn't been published anywhere, it's something else. And of course, some labs, like federal labs, have super strict guidelines on what they're allowed to do. Other folks at other universities, they don't even seem to have much of a guideline. They're not even sure where to start. So we try to handle all of those aspects to make you, the tech transfer professional, both comfortable and proficient with AI and able to tell your boss and your boss's bosses how you're using AI and why.
That's so important, right? There's such a wide range of, different policies and sort of guidelines internally, and sometimes you just don't know where to start. And so we'll provide a bit of a compass and a roadmap, so to speak, for helping to navigate that and think about, how that relates to specific tools even, and everything that we're presenting and covering in the course here, right? We will also review all of the security and privacy implications in detail and make sure that you know how to use these tools securely, regardless of where sort of on that spectrum, of, the sort of extreme being no tools to you can use whatever you want. We don't have a policy, right? And so we'll help you figure out what the probably best scenario is for you and your team.
Absolutely. That's why at every step of the way, we always focus on AI ethics, but also IP and data safety and privacy. These are important things to consider however you choose to use AI. Even if you're just using it to find chicken recipes, you still need to think about this because your data is being used. And when you're working in a tech transfer office, you really have to be careful. We'll also then help you, as you said, Peter, find and make the right decision for you and your team. It's a balance of risks. Nothing is perfect. And if you don't have any explicit rules, well, then you and your team really had better come up with some so that you are able to justify and explain how you're using AI, as well as, of course, actually using it in the best and most safe way.
Right. Yeah. I'm just really interested in thinking about how some of the best practices today are going to change tomorrow. I know a lot of students are asking, why should I take this now? Things are moving so fast. Should I wait and see how things, shake out in terms of the tools or even the best practices? How would you respond to that? That's a question we've gotten a lot of times.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm a programming dinosaur, right? I learned how to program before the graphical user interface, way back in the dark ages, even before the internet. And what I found was learning how to program so early on made it easy for me to learn how to train our AI models starting from 2015. I didn't need a special course. I just needed a few practical how-tos and I was able to do it. If you learn AI now, when it's at its early stages, you will see its skeleton, its framework, how it operates, how it's put together. In the future, you will be able to use AI agents better than anyone because you're going to know exactly how it was built. Now, I know folks are saying, well, in the future, AI is going to do everything. AI will be running deal discovery. They're going to be looking for the right industry, the right market, and the right company. They'll help do screening, both for you and, quite frankly, for the companies that you want to interest in innovations. What they won't do is help you make that human relationship. That's another reason why you need to learn now. So as the AIs get more automated, you're comfortable working with them while still retaining your human influence on the human relationship, which is the most important. I also think that AI, while it's going to continue to change, will still need to fit into our workflows. AI is not going to take over and then we're all going to go sit on a beach and sip pina coladas. We're still going to have to do the work, which means the AI still
Oh
has to be able to work
man,
with us.
That you just ruined my 5-year plan.
That's right, Peter. No pina coladas for you. But
It's
that's
rough.
why you need to learn about AI and how it works so that it'll work within your own process. And as AI changes, you can change to keep up with it. You don't want to get left behind, right? You don't want to be one of these folks who doesn't know how to use AI. Instead, you want to be one of the leaders in AI. And that's the people that we intend to have on this course. And we're looking forward to teaching.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned this already and alluded to it, but where do you think, this whole thing is headed in terms of AI in tech transfer offices, right, in the next 1 to 2 years?
Well, first of all, I'd say the future of AI isn't coming, it's here. And if you're not integrating AI now, you're already behind. AI is going to continue to change faster and faster, but budgets can be cut, resources will be reallocated. Companies are going to expect you to do a lot of research. Remember, if you're the tech transfer office who isn't sending personalized emails because you're not using AI, your innovations are going to get ignored because companies will go with the easier choice, someone who's talking to them directly and who has made it clear that they value the relationship that they're making with the company and with the person of that company. So I would say the future, I'm talking about the present. Now, in the next couple of years, AI will do more and more of the heavy lifting, but that will make you as a human more and more valuable to make the relationships, to understand how to negotiate as a human, and then to help craft the right deals that are a win-win for your research organization, like your university, and also the company. Only humans will be able to do that. Now, 2, 3, however many years from now, that's still going to be the case.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, even if there's AI agents here at the core of it, there's still going to be a critical need for humans in all of these roles, right? And they will be augmented though, right? And you don't want to be left behind because others, learn this stuff first and, mastered it. And I think there's this pressure in every field right now, and it's real, right? Across all the different courses that we teach at the upgrade, there is sort of this frenzy and almost panic. And I want to just let people know that like there's still plenty of time. Yes, the future is now, right? And this quote about the future is here, it's just unevenly distributed is very real in terms of, the ability for you to use AI right now in a really impactful way. Like it's possible. Many organizations are already doing it. We're still learning sort of, yeah, where everything's going to shake out. But for the early adopters, again, don't need to be tech at all. But even just understanding the basics and the foundations of how this works for your use case, for your field, right, in tech transfer is going to be positioning you well to, stay ahead. And all the information here is still going to be relevant in a year, in 2 years, right? Because we're helping you really get a handle on how this whole market works. All of our use cases are going to be relevant, to you ongoing, regardless of how the tools change, right? It's going to be the same principles, the same frameworks, the same methodology that you're going to be using. So we've had students come back to our courses again and again, oftentimes because you really enjoy the fact that we're having a really industry specific series of use cases and getting people up to speed. But that's not necessary, right? You can take this and jump into your normal job and suddenly be 30-40% more productive, right? Out of the gates here. Yeah.
Even more, now this is something Fabrizio de Acqua found out. He's a professor at Harvard Business School. He found that the top folks using AI can get 4x to 8x more efficient, whereas people who are less proficient or less able to use AI, shall we say, only saw a 30 to 40% increase in productivity. That is orders of magnitude different. So if you're a little bit unsure about how to use AI or you're sitting on the fence, I would get off that fence and get moving, because what you don't want is to be one of those folks who's being left behind because everyone else is at least 4x better and more productive because they've integrated AI well. There'll be a huge chasm between the AI haves and the AI have-nots.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I've seen, probably a 5 to 10x level of productivity. I feel a lot more excited, as an entrepreneur too, as a small business. We're really excited to have an AI first mentality and approach. And we're constantly, I know you are as well, Devora, just tinkering and exploring these things as they come out in real time. And it can be sometimes overwhelming to keep up with, but it's also a super exciting time to, dip your toes into the AI, sort of jet stream. And I think it's a really fun time to get involved. And, we hope to see you there in the course. Just to do a bit of sort of housekeeping and recap of some of the details, right? The course this spring cohort 2025 starts on April 29th. There are 4 live sessions. They're 2 hours each. There's also office hours, which we haven't even talked about, which are so helpful to come. We have time built in class for asking questions, obviously. But being able to bring your own sort of, projects or questions from the homework assignments or real life integration questions in terms of how do I use this at my workplace, bring those to office hours. We're going to be having those each week. And we're really, I think I'm most excited about being able to meet people where they're coming from. Office hours is a great way to do that. The course cost, right? So it costs $1,249, but we do have discounts available. We have an early bird discount, right? Which will be valid, and that's a 25% off discount, not, insignificant, that runs out. The clock on that early bird runs out 2 weeks before. So it'll be valid until April 15th. We hope to see you there. We also have additional discounts for educators, nonprofits, and freelancers. Please reach out and get a hold of me. My email, Peter at theupgrade.devora here, and we're happy to chat with you. We also have discounts for teams. If you want to send multiple members of your team, this is common. We can definitely work something out to make sure that you're able to send who you want, right? And make it work.
Yeah, and also just a quick note, those folks who are career transitioning, given all the changes that are going on in the US, but also in other countries as well, hit us up, hit up Peter or myself, and we are happy to work that out with you. And look, I also just want to make it real clear, there's a limited number of seats because we do want to give everyone individualized attention. We will have different sessions, like office hours and in the different time zones, so the people will be able to come and ask all the questions that they want. It is hands-on, there is no fluff. So join us and we'll see you there. You will leave with a fully operational AI strategy for your tech transfer office.
Absolutely. Yeah. We hope to see you there, and we're really looking forward to it. So, Devor, really appreciate your time today. I'm excited for another great cohort. I'm really looking forward to this. It was a blast last time. And I think, everything is moved in a really fun direction so that people getting started right now today, are going to be able to do even more out of the gates, after just a few sessions with us than even last time.
Absolutely. And as we showed during the Automanual conference, you can have a Kentucky Fried video through AI. Want to know what that's about? Well, you'll have to join us in the course and see.
Yeah, we do have some fun. And yeah, look forward to seeing you there. Thanks so much for your time, Devora. And thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone.